Secretary Yattani has revealed that spending in the financial year 2022-2023 will focus on supporting economic recovery as well as Big Four agenda, with the proposed total programmed spending for the next financial year set to amount to 3.3 trillion shillings. Other spending priorities in the budget, that is President Uhuru Kenyatta's last and his successor's first, will include security, education, the next general election, as well as protection of vulnerable groups. Our reporter David Mudoka takes a look at the highlights of the 2022-2023 budget.
Proceed to make your announcements.
In his third and last presentation of the 2022-2023 financial year budget statement as Treasury Cabinet Secretary under President Uhuru Kenyatta's government, CS Yattani revealed that the Exchequer would prioritize economic recovery and completion of projects under the Big Four agenda in its next budget that takes effect from 1st July this year.
Spending in the financial 2022-2023 will focus on supporting economic recovery and the Big Four agenda to ensure the highest impact on the well-being of Kenyans. The proposed total program spending for the financial year 2022-2023 amounts to Kenya shilling 3.3 trillion.
According to the Treasury Cabinet Secretary, in the 3.3 trillion shilling budget, 146 billion shillings have been allocated to the Big Four agenda, which includes universal health coverage, affordable housing, manufacturing, and food security. Of this amount, UHC set to receive the biggest share of 62.3 billion shillings. 27.7 billion shillings have been set aside for affordable housing. The manufacturing sector will receive 10.1 billion shillings, while food security will receive 46.7 billion shillings.
We are proud of our socio-economic achievement and seek to sustain high economic growth so as to improve the welfare of our people. Considering the envisaged development agenda and the limited fiscal space, we have carefully balanced the difficult choices in resource allocation in order to finance the highest priorities that will propel this country to a greater heights of prosperity.
Meanwhile, in the Exchequer's move to cushion the economy from the aftershocks of the COVID-19 pandemic, 20.6 billion shillings have been set aside for the third economic stimulus program. Out of this, 2.1 billion shillings is for the Yattani youth program. 8.2 billion shillings is set to go to improving economic outcome. 1.3 billion shillings will go to improving health outcomes, while 5.8 billion shillings have been set aside for improving environment, water, and sanitation facilities. Additionally, 1.5 billion shillings will go to fertilizer subsidy, while a further 1.6 billion shillings are expected to enhance liquidity to businesses.
Our sustained investments since 2013 have significantly transformed our economy and strengthened our resilience. Encouraged by this, our economy has bounced back, giving our people incredible optimism, even in the situation of extreme challenges. Mr. Speaker, we are proud of our socio-economic achievement and seek to sustain high economic growth so as to improve the welfare of our people.
This as the government plans to invest 212.5 billion shillings in infrastructure. 317.8 billion shillings have been allocated to support functions of security agencies. 544.4 billion shillings will go to education, while 39.5 billion shillings will go to social protection and affirmative actions. A proposed allocation of 15.6 billion shillings have been set aside for initiatives in the information, communication, and technology sector. 15.8 billion shillings more have been set aside for the Sports, Arts and Social Development Fund, while 45.9 billion shillings will go to water and sewerage infrastructure development. In a bid to sustain the fight against corruption, the Exchequer has allocated 3.4 billion shillings to the Office of the Directorate of Public Prosecution. 3.6 billion shillings will go to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. 8.4 billion shillings have been allocated to the Criminal Investigation Services, while the Auditor General is set to receive 6.4 billion shillings. Heading into the August polls, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission IEBC will receive 21.7 billion shillings more on top of the 22.9 billion shillings it received in the current budget. With the 2022 to 2023 financial year budget having been tabled before the floor of the House, but still set to go through a series of stages before the Exchequer can avail part of the funds to the government. The President Uhuru Kenyatta regime is officially in a race against time to utilize part of the funds in its agenda and ultimately cement President Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy. David Mudhoka, TV 47 at Parliament, Nairobi.